Islam, Islam, Peace Hotep. This is Canaanland Moors class, November 19th. Today's session is Moorish nationality is not, right, and we're going to repeat, is not a belief system, right? So we made a call, so we got a hold of one of the good brothers, and he'll let you know who he is or whatever, and he's just gonna take the first 15 minutes just to let us know his perspective about why Moorish nationality is not a belief system. All right, so brother, you there?
Islam. Yes, indeed.
All right, go ahead, fam.
Go ahead. Pretty much what the brother is saying is pretty on point. The difference between a belief system, belief is the evidence of things unseen, or faith is the evidence of things unseen. Belief is the hope for something to happen. So the difference in hoping something happens and something actually happening is based upon your knowing of whether it's going to happen or not. Precognition is an aspect of higher awareness. In modern society, they refer to that as paranoia. So because most people are trained to believe that the things that are happening to them are not happening to them, there's something called paranoia that's there to put that out. Paranoia is emphasized or de-emphasized based upon your belief system. So if your belief system is one based on guilt, like let's say Jewish people, the whole guilt thing about killing Christ, right? That means then that the mind pattern of the believer is one who is prone to believe that they should be punished for something, right? Which then puts them in league with the Catholics. The Catholics thing is not guilt, it's self-hate, right? Why? Because they killed Jesus. So, you see what I'm saying? So now self-hate is an aspect of that. So, an obvious aspect of self-hate is to hate the generation after, meaning because they go against, or they have the ability not to go through what you went through. But in a self-hatred society like that, then the future generation is seen as the future. So whatever you do to that generation, meaning the children, is what you do to the future itself. So in terms of the Catholic Church, the way that they perpetually keep their future where it is through the act of pedestry, right? So other belief systems have other different things like that. The Moorish Science Temple belief system, if there was one, would be love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality. But those are the essence of what jurisprudence is. What jurisprudence is an act of the transcendental or the transliterary aspect of higher law or positive law in the form of what's called the isonomy, which is I son, I mother, I-S-O-N, I.S-O-N dot O-M dot I, right? So in that, the Moors go through life with two eyes, essentially, right? Because you got the eye on one end of isonomy and the eye on the other end, right? So those who are going the other path, though, are following the one eye. You see what I'm saying? The one eye was supposed to represent the universal government of all of the Moors being a unit. In our time frame, though, that has been turned into a belief system in which the Freemasons or the so-called Illuminati got something to do with that. So because Negroes believe what they are taught by anyone, especially that's not their color, they believe that. Therefore, Moorish science cannot be a belief system because it's not something that can be changed based on trends. Noble Ali was the first one to establish the mosque in America when he was in the Ahmadiyya movement under the name Mulavi Mubarak Ali. But as he was a Sharif in the Sultans, in the Sharifan army, as Sharif Abdul Ali, he now became or could be recognized as the lord of what we call the Hajjaz. The Hajjaz represents the conquered people and the dominions of the farthest most west, as well as the southern time. He's not the one you see signing the bean pods and all of that. That's because every movement after 1929 was set up to be a belief system to move everybody away from all the science, because science cannot be altered. You cannot alter gravity unless you are in a state to manipulate gravity. To do that, you got to be a Moor. You can't be, you know what I'm saying? The closest to that you can get is like no, you got to be a Moor. The only people who can bend the reality in the way that I'm understanding, based upon the original clans, the two-clan moiety. A moiety is two parts of a whole. It's the Eels and the Bays, which is the house of Al-Bayet, which is the house of light, spoken so forth in the Quran. And the Quran says that Ali was the rightful successor. Ali Abu bin Ibn al-Talib was supposed to be the rightful successor of Islam. And after 1920, how is it on January 8th, since we talk about belief, let's talk about the miracles that come with the prophet. How is it that on January 8th, 1926, or 1921 it was, the father of the Sultan, Abdul Aziz, sets up the Sultanate of the Hijaz and Egypt, basically reestablishing God's Islamic kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. And then the successive years going up to 1926, he actually established it and is crowned that at the Masjid al-Haram. And then after that, the next year, through the Treaty of Jeddah, is the British monarchy to accept the jurisdiction of the Moors over them, basically, as titles of nobility and being the imperial lords of the original nobilities on the planet, the Bays and the Eels. And then in 1928 now, right when the British and everybody forced everybody to capitulate to it, here come the prophet who's born on January 8th, the same day that the Sultan set this thing up. He handed back over to the prophet, because the prophet is the only one at all the Convention of American States that recognize true Islam. But of course, the Negroes, they don't know that part of that history because they don't want to know. And because belief systems that are in place today are imposed in a psychic barrier, it creates an imposition in the mind state of the Asiatic to accept the very fact that it's actually simpler than we even think. Because since 1929 to 2013, Negroes posing as Moors, Freemasons posing as Moors, these other people posing as Moors have been out here trying to conscript and mess up what the man already did. If the man brought a round wheel, you can't convince me that the square one is going to get me there faster. Because he already provided for me what I need. So you can't come to me talking to me about anything. Niggas could come to me right now with pictures of the prophet with white women and all that. You know what I say? I'd be like, yeah, well, where do you think Queen Elizabeth come from? Where do you think these other niggas come from? There's nothing my father could do that's not wrong, because everything that I've seen him do in terms of my life, has been right and exact. Because he's the only Moor that ain't never lied to me.
Right.
Present company excluded. But in terms of an elder that I'll never meet, in the sense of the physical, but know that it's there in terms of his works, he's the only one that provided something for me. He ain't even know me. Garvey ain't do that other than the spirit. He wanted to, but he got caught up. You know what I'm saying? Selassie ain't do that. He ain't leave nothing for these rosters. He ain't even have locks. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. I'm not trying to diss the man, but any picture you see with Selassie with locks, that's a dread that created that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, I'm not trying to whatever, but the prophet is the one in which set off everything that happened after 1929.
Right.
And what happened? The Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, the reorganization, the New Deal, the private deal, the Federal Reserve, the income tax, the Social Security number, and out of all of that, the only people they made a provision for to get their money and their titles back was who? The Moors, through HJR 75. In which both sides of that Congress and the House got together and said, you gotta let these niggas do their thing, because we already know what went down in Cuba. So, again, the Negroes can say whatever they want. Phony Moors can say whatever they want. The bottom line is, if it don't say Moorish Temple of America, if it don't say, if you don't know that we as individuals are now the temple, because that's why the prophet temples, our physical vessels, the temples, in which is people in North Central South America. So any building we walk into and anything we walk into, we bring the life into, because we the only ones that's literally physically alive in this world, in this country. So again, I'm not trying to hate on nobody else. Other Moors can do and say what they want to do. They can wear their little Shriner pins and whatever they want to do, man. I don't care, because I know what we doing, what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is the profit work. So if it don't mesh with what the man did, then it's not going to fly. And if you put his name on anything nowadays that's not right and exact, upon the Trademark Act between the United States, France, and Britain in 18 something, they agreed that if any Moors or Negroes found toting Moorish paperwork that was not sanctioned by the Moorish government, in this case the Moorish government is the temple, and has no affiliation with the original organization rights of that, those documents are seized on behalf of the Moroccan or Moorish Empire, and those violators will be severely punished. So they are punishing these Moors that's out there, that's adverse in houses, all of that, saying this, saying that, and they have to, because I mean, they don't have it, but they're taking it, they're going ham, but they're using our own thing against us. So when they confiscate them documents and all that, guess who they confiscate them for? It ain't for the CIA. It ain't for the FBI. Those niggas all work for us, because they are agencies that we allow to be incorporated, and Moors are the bailiffs of 100. Look that up, and what you'll see is the bailiffs of 100 are the Moors who are the lords of the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is anybody landmass on earth surrounded by water. And it says that we are the ones to summon the court for the proceedings and administer the rights of the several sheddings. Meaning that you got to shut out what it is my money is, and then what I do is I give you a shill of that. That's where the British term shilling comes from. Because we would give them a shill, we would give them a piece of what it was after we processed them, or whatever, or ransom them, or whatever. So again, that means that every corporation, so when it says that you are the bailiff of 100, go get a book called the Book of Hundreds, because in the time that we was running stuff, corporations were called hundreds. Right now, today, if you want to find out how much money a corporation got, what you got to go to Fortune 500, right? So again, it always busts down to you. And if you are bailiff of 100, when you are registered more in your real temple capacity, that means you got the right to write the CEO of this country and get your bread, or get a job if you want. And they're supposed to give it to you, even if it's ceremonial. Because we are the ones that gave right for the British East India Company to establish the first corporations in the world, because the empire was fracturing and we had to preserve what was left to it in some form of fashion to get it back. So we decided to allow these niggas to certain aspects of it into corporations that we would always be the bailiffs of.
Right.
Again, is that term belief again. So if you really want to be if you want to believe, then you got to be a bailiff. To be a bailiff, right? To be a bailiff, you got to be a Moor. And what do bailiffs do to the soup? They flavor the whole shit up, right? They flavor it up. You can't cook no gumbo without no bay leaves. You know what I'm saying? You can't cook certain things without that. Because that's what's bringing the flavor. Because that's us. That represents us. Everything. I'm starting to see that everything, this whole illusion, has been to keep me from this. So obviously this got to be working, because I don't have these problems these other boys have had.
Right.
All of that UCC stuff, all of that stuff, man, all of that stuff was created to take you away from the trust that already exists. There's no coincidence that in the same year, 1956, your status went AAA 222141, classified truth A1, and that's the same year they came out with civil rights. Come on, man. How they come out with the Black Panther comic book and the Black Panther Party in the same year? Yeah. Come on, man.
For real.
There's a book called The Naked Capitalist. It'll tell you that most of these organizations, black organizations, funded by Rockefeller and Ford, and I know that, but I ain't gonna try to make these RPG dudes mad and all of that. I'm always talking about these niggas are sensitive and they believe in all that stuff, and that's okay. That's just a chamber for them to go through.
Right.
But when you get in the Moorish science chamber, that's the real chamber. That's the real ADEP chamber. That's the chamber where there's no Negroes. There's only nobles, adepts, sages, eels, emissaries, consuls, special envoys, consecrated missionaries. That's it. There's nobody else in it. But those people, divine ministers, that's it. That's it. That's it. There's no Negroes in there. There's no, you know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I hear you. I hear
There's no
you.
blacks in there.
Okay, before you close out, one thing. So that aspect of not being a believer, right? What happens to that when the individual now proclaims their nationality now? Like when they put that cloak on now, what happens with all that?
What happens is when you declare your true nationality, you protect yourself from demonic possession, dispossession, alien abduction, immutable, irreasonable behavior, mind post-hypnotic suggestion. When you really go into this thing, you start to become, you get to a point, and you know what I'm talking about, you go into certain places, they can just leave. Leave. I talk to certain people, it's like I'm not even there, because we're not really there.
Yeah.
Remember, they are ghosts. They're the zombies. They're the walking dead. These people are citizens of the United States. They don't have, their evidence of citizenship is corporate papers. Your evidence of citizenship is baptismal certificates and stuff like that. So you alive, and the only way you can be alive here is if you live in God's kingdom. And God so decreed so forth to bring forth the prophets to do it. So now, when you declare who you really are, when you really read your temple card, it says that you give honor to who? Muhammad, Zoroaster, Confucius, Buddha, all that. So what that means? That means that all the people was Moors. That means you could go to them places, get them books, and read it, and know that your ancestors is the one they're talking about. When you are Moor, you are the hero in the story. So whatever story you read, and you could visually put yourself as the hero in it, and you're it, because you're reliving your real history. They just flipped it and put a white face on it to make you not interested. So all you got to do with your belief now is evolve it into the faith, and that faith is in the knowing that you are not only right and exact, but you right, exact, and correct, because you live in your life based on love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality, and based on the Religious Rights and Religious Freedom Act. It says that any act done by a religious body, politic, or corporation that is outside the jurisdiction and predates the statutes that put them under the United States, all their actions are lawful and legal. So that means that the Moorish Science Temple in law can do no wrong. That's why whenever one of these Negroes get bagged up, the first thing that the local temple do is say, nah, they not registered with us. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't come out and try to SHIT on the temple, because they already know who the man is. They already know who the emperor, who the great caliph, sultan, emirate, whatever you want, because you know Moors get sensitive to it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't call the prophet that. Don't call the prophet this. Don't do the prophet that. The prophet said that in the future there will be new Moors who would come, and they would tell the old, and they would come with their eyes and hearts wide open, and they would come and tell the old Moors to sit in the back, and they would come and fulfill my what? My law. So he said law. He didn't say my creed. He didn't say my speech. No, he said my law. So when you hear Moors talking crap to you about don't study law more, don't read that more. Whenever you hear a Moor telling you the word don't mess with that dude. He's gonna get you caught up. Real talk. Because the Moor, we are Moroccans, not Moroccans. Okay? A Moor, there is no limit to what you do, because a Moor is a verb. A Negro is a noun. An African is a noun. You see what I'm saying? These niggas is not even here. So that's what I'm saying. When you really declare yourself, your belief evolves into an ever-present knowing that you know who you are.
Right.
There's no way right now, the way my life is structured, where they can produce some sort of thing and say, oh, well, he wasn't a Moor, or are you crazy? Are you crazy? This will burn the station down, because me and you, she, are one of the only people who have been on YouTube and things like that. Who realize what we've been talking about.
Right.
Really? You know what I'm saying? And you better than me, so you actually will allow yourself, your eminence, to be around the rabble. You know what I mean? At certain points. And be around some of these people who are not really in the home spirit and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just for the sake, when I rock with you, because you be like this, just for the sake to say, you're a Negro. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a Moor. Like, we're Moors. Like, you're bugging. And in the end, I watch a lot of these guys capitulate. Because in the end, it says in the Bible, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that he is Lord. So saith the truth. So again, man, they can say whatever they want to say, man. Even you, Sheik, as your brother, I'm telling you, man, let these dudes feed themselves with their garbage, man. Because we're about to be put into the stratosphere with this thing. And a lot of these Negroes are telling you more, especially the Masonic Moors, especially them, the ones who's just always throwing up their degrees and stuff like that. Yo, watch out for them dudes, man. Them dudes they part of the problem. I'm keeping it real. Because they are straddling the fence. You can't do it with this stuff, man.
Right.
The prophet told the brothers that came in the temple with the shrine and said, "No, brother, I your prophet am here." And you do not need to wear that now that I am your prophet am here. And he took off their shrine and said that what? Put on a plain fez on them. So again, man, if you're a Freemason and you're in a Moorish temple talking about what Noble Jordan was talking about, you bugging. You bugging. You gotta renounce that shit. You got to come out of Babylon, children of old Ben Ayas.
Come out of her. Straight up. Yo, you got anything to promote? Shows or something, lectures or something?
Actually, I'm about to do a show right after you. Forgive me that I don't even, forgive me, brother, I don't even remember. Brother, Noble Aseer, Eel. Right now, I'm about to call him right after I get off with you. But if any holler at us and at us out here at Temple, Moorish Temple of America, 2A, of which again I'm the chairman of, under Grand Sheik Jonathan Donaldson Bay. You can email me at houseofil, which is el@hotmail.com. Also, you can also check out Super Haven Radio every Monday night from 9 to 11, inshallah. So on Blog Talk Radio, aka Small Talk Radio, aka I'm trying to shut the show down like they tried to last night. Everybody wants to holler at us. Check out the world's most dangerous comic book novel that I wrote about all this stuff, called The Dark Skull 418. You can check that out on www.darkskull418.com. Also check out www.aseerthedukeoftears.com. A lot of good DVDs and stuff that we've done over the years, and newer materials, as well as some Moorish compendiums with filled with the stuff that I read over the years of Moorish science that actually turned out to be true. There's a lot of crap that's out there that's nothing to do with them. And then you could also check out www.cookingmorewithless and www.blackmambaworkouts.com. My queen, Selena, the Empress of 10,000 years, she created a yoga system for Moors called Melanin Active Yoga. And you should definitely check it out, man. And thanks to you, Sheik, for having us on, and all the Canaanland Moors. Love and light. You know, we all family. And again, man, anybody want to holler at us about lectures, workshops, whatever, nationality registration, as well as our applications for our temple out here, please hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. Peace.
Well, peace and love, Mar.
Peace and love to you, Mar. And thanks for having me on board.
No problem.
Keep doing the work, man.
Yeah, we'll connect. You too.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, most definitely. Peace. Yeah, Mars. So that's what's up. So that was our little intro for today's session, because you know how it is, same old, right? More is just doing their work, doing what they got to do. So we're gonna go to the hidden in the Adept Chamber book that nobody has, and finally it's in circulation now, and the people can get access to some more, right? Get access to some more, because this is another part of our needed literature, right? Like this is needed literature. All right. So you're gonna go, you get the red book, and you're gonna read your red book with your Quran. All right. I'm just gonna take an excerpt from chapter 8, the Council of the Seven of the World. Verse 9. The wheel of time has turned once more. The race is on a higher plane of thought. The garments that our fathers wore have given out. The cherubim have woven a celestial cloth, have placed it in our hands, and we must make for men new garbs. The sons of men are looking up for greater light. No longer do they care for gods hewn out of wood. They seek for Allah, not made with hands. They see the beams of coming days, and yet comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion well these garments for the race. And let us make for men new garbs of justice, mercy, and love, that they may hide their nakedness when shines the light of coming days. And Vidyapati said, our priests have all gone mad. They saw a demon in the wilds, and at him cast their lamps. And they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of Allah. And Casper said, in Persia, people walk in fear. They do the good for fear to do the wrong. The devil is the greatest power in our land, and though a myth, he dandles on his knees both young and age. Our land is dark, and evil prospers in the dark. Fear resides on every passing breeze, and lurks in every form of life. The fear of evil is a myth, is an illusion, a snare, but it will live until some mighty power shall come to raise the ethers to the plane of light. When this shall come to pass, the Magian land will glory in the light. The soul of Persia calls for light. So at this time, when you make that step into nationality proclamation, right? The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each man a priest, right? So every individual is their own 10,000 bailiffs, right? As a Moabite, right? So every individual is 10,000 bailiffs, right? That's the status of these individuals, Moabites, that Noble Drew Ali tapped into and carried on that tradition, right? While others abandoned it and called themselves all this other stuff, make up stuff that they went into slavery and whatever, right? Because the Renaissance is going on right now. Like, it's the time of the Moors right now, once again, because that's just what the Moors do. When the world's in darkness and it needs light, who's coming? The Moors, right? So all the Moors that have their information and their whatever out there, right? It's to just put your nationality on it and put it out there, because it needs to be out there. That's why there's stagnation, because good men see evil and do nothing. Good men see evil and watch evil, you know, just like it's saying. The priests have all gone mad. The priests have gone mad. So if every man is their own priest, right, it's because the priest went mad. That's why you're your own priest. That's why you're your own grand sheik and grand governor, right? And don't get, Cujo said that, don't even go there. There is a individual with a title called that, which some of them are legitimate, and you should have one. And you should belong to a temple that's running correctly. That's the only temple you should belong to. If you hunt and hunt and hunt and you never ever find a temple that's running correctly, right, which is kind of impossible if you're willing to go from different jurisdictions into different jurisdictions to hunt, right? If there's no temples accessible to you and you can't move, then you're the temple. That's just what it is. Because there's no way that you're gonna follow the trend of giving yourself up to somebody when Red Book, which is an Adept Chamber book that the so-called priests who all gone mad hid from you, right? Not only did they go mad, but they saw a demon in the wild and they threw their lamp. So they're in the wild, right? Right? They're in the wild. These priests, who are supposed to be high priests or whatever, the Order of Silent Brotherhood or whatever, these guys go out in the wild and then they see demons in the dark, and then they took their lamp, which is the light for them to stay out of the darkness, and threw it at the, right? That's how mad these priests are gone, right? That they're seeing demons in the wild and stuff like that, right? Tripping, right? The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. So don't go around talking about, well, you know, he hasn't done anything for 80 years, but, you know, we'll just keep him in the post still because, you know, they can't be reformed. They didn't do anything for 80 years. That's why we have Ustream trying to catch people up to date of to what you've been missing. Because we missed some stuff that we were supposed to know, so we're not here right now. And the reason why we missed it, because opportunists, Moors who know about their birthright and opposed to just give it to somebody because it's their birthright, they want to go around, dabble around, do this, do like that, make people look, right? Because every individual is a priest. In Moorish Science Temple, quote unquote talk, a priest is a divine minister. So everybody, once you proclaim your nationality, you're a divine minister. Especially if you're somebody that's into yoga and you know, organ energy and, you know, things relating to holistic health and, you know, naturopaths and things of that nature, you're definitely a divine minister, right? And again, try to find a temple that's running proper, find a temple that's legit. And if you hunt and hunt and hunt and hunt, you know, don't say go to one temple and then throw in the towel. Like, you have to go check. And if you check and there's no temples, then you're the temple, right? And then you have to do your studying to figure out how you're gonna implement your declaration of independence based on your nationality that Noble Drew Ali brought back in 1913. And the mad priest, right, who's pushing this Moorish science dogma on you and keeping you out of the Adept chamber when everybody's supposed to be Adept. Especially by now. 2013, he came 1913, everybody's supposed to be Adept by now. And if everybody's not Adept, then that's dereliction of duty because somebody didn't do their job. Or they were paid off not to do their job. Which in both cases we have a problem that we have to deal with. Right? Nationality. That quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or naturalization. Right? Nationality arises either by birth or naturalization. According to Savigny, nationality is also used as opposed to territoriality for the purpose of distinguishing the case of a nation having no national territory. Right? So as we go to what Noble Drew Ali laid out, right? Quran questions for Moorish Americans. And this is another thing too. If you hear people, somebody shows you something, right? And people are saying, oh, the cover and, it didn't say that in the original one. Once this part inside has what it's supposed to say, that's what's good, right? Don't judge a book by its cover, right? Read it. So Noble Drew Ali, just like brother just broke down, right? He was basically at the top of the pyramid, right? And he claimed himself that he brought everything it takes to save a nation, and for the Moors to take it and save themselves, right? Again, putting it on you. You don't need anybody with regard to this. It's just good to have more than one individual, because you don't want to be Lone Ranger, right? That's why the temple's there. You join the temple, now you have a body of people, right? So Drew Ali, being he had this position, right, he started putting things in place for the nation. So he did his work from 1913 to 1929. 1929, he goes to the Soul Plain, right? And the Moorish Nation trustees are supposed to be administering all the activities from all the groups under the umbrella of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, right? And then they didn't do that, so we're here right now, right? Now, what they fail to present to the Moors that are eager to be involved with this but can't find anywhere to do something is that it's yours. So if you see that you need a playground in a neighborhood and nobody could do it but you can do it, and you want to do that on behalf of Noble Drew Ali for the fact that he brought something to you that triggered something in you to actually make sure this playground gets built for these children or whatever, right? Put your free national name on it and go build a playground, and don't even talk about your permission from the Grand Sheik to do something, because it's your birthright, right? You think Mr. Chin, who has the nail shop, right, is talking to the Korean embassy because we want to have a nail shop over here, so we just want to get permission, embassy, because you're they open a nail shop, because they're taking their place amongst the affairs of men, because they have a prophet and they follow what he laid out for them, right? He declared the Moors independent. Noble Drew Ali. He declared the Moors independent, meaning not slaves, right? And the talk goes around amongst the Moors that Noble Drew Ali, when he said that he declared us a nation and all that, he was holding up the 101 questionnaire and he was holding up the Circle 7 Quran. Right? He was holding up those two books. So, without words, obviously those two books have something to do with us being able to make this claim. Right? So, just like the founding of the Republic, right? These so-called Europeans, before they were naturalized, right? Before they were naturalized, they had to be groomed with how to be Moors in this land and how government runs over here. And forget everything that you knew, because this is a whole different jurisdiction, right? And the obligation was on them to uphold that, right? And they carried it on for as long as they could do, but you know how infiltration goes, because infighting isn't just a Moors thing. Everybody has infighting in their nation, right? That's just what it is. It's nothing wrong or bad or puts a spell on us, because that's what it is. There's people who undermine truth. They exist, right? So with him declaring us independent with these two books and making these statements, it's for us as representatives of the illustrious prophet to carry out what he laid down. But oh yeah, you can't carry out what he laid down if you don't know what's laid down, because the trustees who were supposed to let you know what was laid down, they didn't do that, and they're still around today. Declaration of Independence. A formal declaration or announcement promulgated July 4th, 1776 by the Congress of the United States of America in the name and behalf of the people of the colonies, asserting and proclaiming their independence of the British Crown, vindicating their pretensions to political autonomy, and announcing themselves to the world as a free and independent nation. Right? They were a free and independent nation, but they were ipso jure Moorish subjects, because they had to get permission from the jurisdiction of the Moroccan Empire to be announcing that they're free and independent, because you can't be free and independent if you don't have land to be on. The benefit to us over here is that this is our land, so all we have to do is proclaim our nationality and exercise it, because it's already been declared that we're independent, right? And remember, this is the 101 questionnaire, and then you're going to go to the back, and then it's going to say questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans, right? Now remember, we talked about, Noble Drew Ali said the new Moors are going to come, take the old Moors, put them in the back, and then the new Moors are going to carry out the law. So let's carry out the law right now, right? With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, right? There's a comma there, but let's stop there for a second. With us, all members must proclaim the nationality, right? So these are people who are members. They've joined this so-called organization that has these additional laws in their questionnaire, right? And being that they're members, they must proclaim their nationality. That's prerequisite to be a member. So if you don't proclaim your nationality, you can't be a member. right? You have to proclaim your nationality in order to be a member, right? Now, if you have proclaimed your nationality, it's in your best interest to be a member of the Moorish Science Temple. And why not be a member if that's something that has to do with Noble Drew Ali and you honor him? Forget what dirty people are doing with it, because Drew Ali said that it's yours, right? So the members must proclaim their nationality, right? Now, after you make the proclamation of your nationality, now you have to exercise your motto, right? So when you become a member and you proclaim your nationality, now you have to exercise your motto, right? And the motto is teaching our people about their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, right? This is a new era of time now. Why is it a new era of time? Because slavery is over, right? This is a new era of time, right? Now, keep in mind, coming out, being Negro, black, colored, whatever, Ethiopians, etc., right? That's the exact same situation that the colonies were in when they were trying to escape the British crown, right? And what did they do? They declared their independence. Just like Noble Drew Ali right here is declaring our independence, right? Declaring it, right? Remember, Declaration of Independence, formal declaration or announcement, right? Asserting or proclaiming independence. This is the reason, but this is a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the Prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Okay? So he made the proclamation of our independence, that we're not Negro, black, and colored people. And when you do the research on the black codes and the Negro acts and all these things, you'll realize that there were people during that time that were against that. And they were saying, no, I'm not down with being a Negro or being a whatever. Right? It's there. So it's not that this is a new argument that we're presenting to people to say it's in your best interest to proclaim your nationality. You know what I mean? It's like with this sister on Facebook, we're talking about China buying up land in America. In the so-called U.S. is selling land, selling property, selling bridges, whatever, to China as collateral for the debt, right? But the real debt is the people, because they're selling bridges that people travel on. They're selling property that has people's houses on it, right? So that made something click in her, that damn. So that means that if I don't get the nationality part, then I could get swept up in this buyout or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I registered with her because it's been declared since 1913 The Declaration of Independence was put out there, right? Yes, there's a temple structure. Yes, there's a temple structure. Yes, there's a Moorish Science Temple of America. Yes, there is charters and, you know, protocol and, right? The problem with that is, one, there's only very few of them running properly, right? Meaning that they're dealing with national standards, period. If they're not dealing with national standards, they shouldn't have no sign saying Moorish Science Temple or nothing like that. They're talking religious and whatever like that. You know, the only way that they can talk religious is if they're talking constitutional religious. That's the only way they can talk religious, which is still dealing with national standards, right? Because religion is government, religion is law. So it qualifies. It's not a belief system. Anybody pushing belief system and talking about nationality is a fraud. Because nationality is it's a way of individuals who are in a compromised position not to be compromised. Because your nationality makes you free and independent. Free and independent means you're not a ward. You're not a minority. You don't have to complain and march and picket about stuff. You can actually do things. You can actually do things, practical things, once you understand nationality, to halt all these people. Because the most problems that our people have is this whole quote-unquote money problem, money issue or whatever, right? Imagine you write a writ to the mortgage company that's charging you a mortgage, or people who's charging you rent, right? Now just putting it out there. Imagine everybody said, you know what, I declare my nationality, I'm gonna send this writ out, you know, because if you study mortgage fraud, you'll see that it's fraud. So if it's fraud, then why not stand up for the fact that it's fraud? Send out a writ, and these people never call you again, never did whatever. They didn't even call you. Imagine that. They didn't even call you to say we got your letter, nothing. You just stopped getting mail from them. You know, you're still paying your heat, you're still paying your electrical, you know what I mean? You might want to run the water in the back, fill up the swimming pool or whatever like that, right? But the mortgage people aren't coming for their $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever. Now there's finance that you have that you can do something with, since you're not just giving it away to something that you supposedly would have paid for. And all these fraudulent acts that's going on, IRS and CRA and all these puppet corporations that they're using to embezzle and extort people and whatever like that, all of that is happening only because we're not exercising and taking care of our estate. Because everybody's a priest. Like, you're supposed to be taking care of your affairs. Because this is the North Gate. This is not Europe. This is not India. This is land of the Moors. Everybody knows this is the land of the Moors, but the Moors are the ones not doing anything. Right? Like, it's not because of charter why we exercise as Moorish Science Temple or whatever. You know, we study Noble Drew Ali. Right? And if you study, when you approach people, right, who are so-called governmental people or whatever like that, you'll see, just like brother Lanre, right? Just like brother Lanre stood up on nationality, said whatever, you guys kick my ass, whatever, I don't care. Stood up on nationality, went in the cell, all that, right? And we talked about this, but it's real serious what's going on right now. He's in the cell, right? He's in the cell, holding cell, And the officers, so-called officers, security guards, whatever you want to call them, right? We already know they're fraud. They're coming to him and they're asking him, they're on the outside of the bars. They're asking him in the bars. They just arrested him, drag him on the ground and all that. They're asking him how they can be not paying taxes because they're getting garnished 80% of their check or whatever like that for whatever. And they're asking him through the bars how not to pay tax. How could they get these people off their back? Right? Because of nationality. And everything that they do is a front. Just like brother Aseer said, to get your attention away from Noble Drew Ali. Once they get your attention away from Noble Drew Ali, do you know what stuff is passing while you're not looking? Right? That's why it's imperative that you study. Because only if you study are you going to know. And when we say study, we don't say just go out there just reading whatever. Just relative to the Moors, and that's it. You don't need to go talk, read black people stuff. You got Taj there with books. That's right. You don't need no, all these people who we say, we'll just respect them for, you know what I mean, writing this book about our culture or whatever, and they call you black throughout the whole book, and that's a fraud, right? Like, what you saying? You alright? What's Mark saying?
Just chilling, man. Yeah, man. Work tomorrow. Yeah. Work today.
You already know.
The shift.
You already know.
You know it's good.
Right? So just because of nationality, the brother was able to have some things to talk about on the outside that people wouldn't really be privy to dealing with. Going to jail and it's so negative, look what happened to him, they dragged him on the ground. Yeah, but the amount of stuff that happened in between him getting released and them dragging him on the ground, right? Just experience, so you can see that nationality is real, right? Why? Because he chose to be a priest. There wasn't the Grand Sheik, nothing like that. Only thing he called me to say, his wife called, say, they're kidnapping him right now or whatever like that. He said, don't do anything. Right? Why? Because he's on his journey. And on his journey, he said, I'm in this right now. Right? I'm in this right now. Right? And with that same situation, you have people like Cosmos Ether El Bay, right? Running into the court like superhero, asking people about, could he be the consul and all this type of stuff like that, when man already said he's dealing with this stuff himself. Like, where the hell do you come from? We haven't seen you in like 6 months and shit. But, right? So, when you realize, when that thing goes off, that nationality, and you actually take it for what it really is, what it really is, not just some paper or some card or whatever like that, but a actual understanding. You get the little warps in the matrix, the little you just don't know what's going on. Hey, what just happened? Some deja vu, whatever. 2 cats just passed by. Right? We're going to Brother Heru once again, right? Who was Noble Drew Ali? Brother Heru Ranisi L. Page 14. Moorish Science Temple of America. During this time, Drew Ali revealed the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. This was the constitution for our own lawful Moorish government. Have you heard of the 3 branches of the European government created for them by our Moorish ancestors in secrecy. They are executive, legislative, judicial. Have you heard how these branches create a checks and balance system whereby no one branch can gain total autonomy? This was all an experiment designed to attempt to create a system that was not a sultanate or a monarchy. Well, our Moorish government has the same elements. Allow me to introduce you to Drew Ali's gift to us from his and our Heavenly Father. The Divine Constitution has 7 acts. Act 1 sets the divine aspect in motion. It is the checks and balance system. It states, Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Moorish Science Temple of America equals we the people, the constituency of the Moorish government. The name of the organization is cipher for Moorish America, a newly formed government in North America. How new is Moorish America? Moorish America was formed in 1865 with the passing of the 13th Amendment. This is what lawfully abolished slavery. At that point, we were supposed to form our own government. So Drew Ali's arrival was right on time. This was explained to us by the Moorish elder Elihu Pleasant Bay. He cleared up much confusion regarding the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for many of us 3rd and 4th generation Moors. In Drew Ali's proposed divine constitution, the Grand Sheikh would be president. Assistant Grand Sheikh is the vice president. The Grand Body would be the House of Representatives, and the Senate and the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America are the population of Moorish America. This is from an understanding the layman would have related to the seats of Moorish America with those of the United States of America. The chairman's seat, mentioned in Act 1, is synonymous with Grand Sheikh because if you carefully examine the grammar of Act 1, you would notice the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish Science Temple of America is in power to make and enforce laws. Notice the word is. If the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman seats were 2 different seats, wouldn't it read are in power? Regarding this one unified seat, also notice that it is at this level that laws were made and enforced, as opposed to the system we designed for the European, where laws are made at the legislative level and enforced at the judicial level. Through the Grand Sheikh and Chairman, one person can create and enforce laws. The checks and balances come in with the vote by the Grand Body, Grand Sheikhs and governors. Another school of thought would be that the Chairman and Grand Sheikh are 2 separate seats. However, regarding this topic, I would rather leave it for the Moorish doctors of law to debate. As you are grasping the depth of what is being conveyed here, this man came to us way back in 1913, working in the shadows to build our very own government, a nation within a nation. Does it sound impossible? You had better take another look and deep examination of the back of the American dollar bill. There are 2 nations represented there. The other side of the Great Seal, or on the back of the dollar bill, there are 2 seals that acts as one seal. Think of a coin. A coin has 2 sides, yet it is still a coin. One represents America, the predator, and thus bears an eagle. Herein, we do not intend on giving an intense breakdown regarding the symbology of the Great Seal. We merely intend on introducing new concepts. The other side of the Great Seal or the image on the left side of the back of the dollar bill, is an Egyptian pyramid. Why would an Egyptian pyramid be on the currency of America? Last time I checked, Egypt was in Africa. Africa was ruled by Moors. This does not make sense unless the intent was for the Moors and Europeans to exist in a lawfully equal sense, bearing equal status as free men. The right side of the Great Seal bears the words E pluribus unum, meaning many out of one. This bears witness to the multiple nations, more specifically two, living as one. The seals. Notice the Moorish side of the Great Seal is considered the spiritual side. Who controls the Great Seal? The U.S. Secretary of State. At the date of this writing, 2006, the past two Secretaries of State have been of Moorish descent. The present is Condoleezza Rice and the former was Colin Powell. They are two very intelligent people. Being yourself is coming home to your own. Drew Ali taught us that we must have a nationality and a divine creed. Nationality infers genetic birth and denotes inheritance of all accomplishments of one's ancestors. It denotes a nation ruled by one's ancestors, and there are customs, rites, rituals attached to that nationality. Remember, according to international law, African American does not qualify as a nationality because Africa is not a nation. It is a continent full of nations. Caucasians born in South Africa who moved to America can bear the label of African American. Knowing this, we plainly see that Moorish American would be more applicable. Without a nationality, it is impossible to unite. African Americans, by shadow brand stamp, have no central point through which they can unify. You need more than the red, black, and green flag given to Negroes by Marcus Garvey as an attempt to giving a nationless people a flag. The red, black, and green flag was the flag of the Ansars in Sudan under Muhammad Ahmed al-Mahdi. However, the colors were black, red, and green. Garvey learned of this flag from Deuce Muhammad Ali, a Moor of Sudanese Egyptian birth. Garvey knew that Moors needed a sense of nationalism, and he gave our power what he could with the information that he had. It was Drew Ali's job to take our knowledge a little further. Was Drew Ali the only leader to bring our people something of substance? No. However, his works cannot be denied. Right? And then that's like what Brother Aseer was saying. That for him, right, there's a benefit to this. Because studied the stuff, heard some stuff, tried it, heard some stuff, tried it, heard the other, tried it,
trial and error.
Studied Noble Drew Ali, tried it and worked. And all these other people's stuff almost got me locked up, almost got me, all types of madness, right?
Got me beat up, got me this, got me that.
Whatever, right? Any and everything could almost happen. Calling people, getting through or whatever like that. When you paid them, right? You paid for your nationality, right? And you're calling the people because, you're in a tight squeeze right now and there's no answer.
Assistance and there's no one there.
Right? That's dirty Moors right there. Right? Because we have the ability to change around all this madness, right? We have the ability to change around all this madness, right? Just by following the model. If you want to say that you're Moors and you don't want to belong to the temple and all the temple is fraud and whatever, okay, cool. The model is still uplifting fallen humanity. I mean, the model is still uplifting fallen humanity. The model isn't, well, I have this information, I'm not part of the temple, So I could just, you know, keep it to myself, or come over here and put up a big tent, and you know what I mean, and have people coming in, and you know, and he's leaving with the briefcase every freaking Friday or whatever like that, you know. Just because people refuse to be the priests that they're supposed to be. But oh yeah, I just remembered, the reason why the people don't want to be the priests is because these Moors didn't do their job since 1929, playing around with this. They have a government, and they're playing around, suing each other and stupid shit like that. Like suing each other over, if somebody says Holy Quran and somebody says Holy Quran, you know, he can't say Holy Quran because we're the real Moorish Science Temple, and madness like that.
No, you're going to
Europeans
court.
Laughing
in their court, and
in their court, exactly. You're going in their court
and trying to argue about
something, when right? You know what I mean? These guys did a number on these people's birthright, and they don't even get it. Like Moors get it. Right? But the people, they don't even get that. Same TD Jakes and all these mans playing these guys.
TD Jakes.
Playing them. And they don't want to accept it. You know, that's cool. They don't have to. Right? Next one. Master issue, because this is the issue right here. If you already know Hakeem Bey, right? Moorish paradigm. We all got brought up on it. You know what I mean? We can't even front. We all got brought up on Hakeem, right? So this is the master issue, which means that it's also, right? So 1997. So since 1997, this has been out there as far as what's the Moorish Science Temple and what's the National Divine Movement and what is this and whatever. It's been out there. It's in Hakeem Bey's book since 97, right? So nobody has no excuses about, you know, how do we know about Noble Drew Ali and whatever. Hakeem Bey has the stuff, right? Page 13. A divine and national government, two governments well involved in one. The reason the Prophet named this movement the Moorish Divine and National Movement is because it is a movement designed to restore us within our own divine government, and thence within the national government of the United States of America. By establishing our divine birthrights and government, he also established our rights as Moorish American national citizens. Thus, our movement teaches us how to function in two spheres of activity: the divine sphere, represented by the eye and the pyramid on the dollar bill, and the national sphere, represented by the eagle. At the head of the national government is the president, followed by the vice president. At the head of the divine side is Allah, then the prophet, followed by the supreme grand sheikh and chairman of the Moorish Science Temple, Caliph. Divine and national relates to the separation of church and state, thus the two seals. The reason our side is called divine is because it is headed by Allah and we have a divine constitution. The national government has a secular, mundane constitution, creating republican form of government. Thus, we are a nation within a nation. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a divine nation, functioning within a national government structure. The purpose of the Prophet's divine and national movement was to make us a nation within this nation by restoring us all that was taken from us. This was one of the toughest jobs and greatest feats ever to be attempted. What the Prophet did was no college education shows that he was guided by the opinions and ideas, that he was not guided by the opinions and ideas of men, but that he was in fact divinely guided. To do this, the Prophet had to execute his plan in degrees and stages. The Moorish leaders sound like a movie or something. in the Moorish historical leader's message to America,
I know, right?
The Prophet lays out the degrees, the stages he took the movement through in order to achieve his aim. We organized as the Moorish Science Temple of America. in the year 1925 and were legally incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of the state of Illinois, November 29, 1926. The name Moorish Temple of Science was changed to Moorish Science Temple of America, May 1928, in accordance with the legal requirements of the Secretary of State of Illinois, a national organization with a Rotarian complexion as it relates to branch temples. Since the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious, the organization has legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to this effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office of Illinois. Notice how the Prophet's first step was to set up a civic organization in 1926. However, this civic organization did not fit the category of a nation or government because it was under the Secretary of State of Illinois. Also, it would have to be a secular, non-divine government, nation, or state, since it is under the classification of civic. The only way a government or state can be formed on the secular national side is via the Congress, and not by the Secretary of State. Thus, this civic organization, formed by the Prophet, did not make us yet a nation within this nation. In May 1928, the name of the civic organization was changed to Moorish Science Temple of America. This was only a change in name, and not in the nature and function of the civic organization. Right?
Just the name.
This was only a change in name, and not in the nature and function of the civic organization. Right?
Civic organization.
So the Moorish Science Temple of America is a civic organization. It's not a religious organization. It's set up as a religious organization, but the function, the nature of it, is civic, which means writs and affidavits and filing stuff, and none of this register, and you know what I mean, everything we do is in-house, right? Because it's civic, right? It was not until his next and final move, made a few months later, that we became a nation within this nation. Some say that the officials were already anticipating the Prophet's next move, but as creative fate would have it, they were powerless to stop him. He said the previous civic organization had been legally changed to a religious corporation. This effectively pulled the organization out from under the Secretary of State of Illinois and filing it not under the Secretary of State, but instead filing an affidavit in the Cook County Recorder's Office of Illinois. This created a form of religious corporation that is not the same as the not-for-profit 501c3 corporation set up for religious purposes, which most churches and religious bodies function under today. In Illinois, you can file under the Religious Corporation Act of 1872 or under the Not-for-Profit Corporation Act, which is under the authority of the Secretary of State. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali filed the Moorish Science Temple of America within the RCA in order that the Moorish Science Temple can function as a divine government, a divine nation within this nation. The RCA gives religious corporations a wide discretion as to issues of governance and operations. Illinois Institute for Continuing Legal Education. In addition to being able to incorporate under the Illinois Not-for-Profit Corporations Act of 1986, they can incorporate under the Religious Corporations Act. The Religious Corporations Act of 1872 provides that any church, congregation, or society formed for the purpose of religious worship may become incorporated. In fact, the choice of law is likely to be determined by the legal counsel engaged by the religious organization. A few Illinois attorneys seem to prefer the RCA because it is very simple and uncomplicated. It gives religious corporations a wide discretion as to issues of governance and operations. Whereas a corporation under the Non-Profit Corporation Act can be shut down by the Secretary of State or not making an annual filing of reports, the religious corporation as the Prophet Drew Ali formed the Moorish Science Temple of America, and filed it as a religious filed it as per the Religious Corporation Act. The MSTA cannot be touched by the Secretary of State of Illinois. He has no power or jurisdiction whatsoever over the Moorish Science Temple. The RCA does not provide for administrative dissolution of a religious corporation, and therefore the leadership need not be concerned with being dissolved by the Secretary of State due to a failure to file annual reports or other filing requirements. Published by Illinois Institute of Continuing Legal Education. Notice that the I on our Constitution represents the same I on the seal on the $1 bill, with the I and the pyramid. The seal with the I and the pyramid represents divine government that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali renewed on July 20th, 1928. This is why this seal was not put on the $1 bill until after Prophet Drew Ali reactivated divine government on July 20th, 1928. The seal with the phoenix eagle represents the national government formed under the Constitution of the United States of America. The national government was formed under the coalition of the Moors and the European American Masons. Thus, you have a national government made up of many diverse national citizens, Chinese Americans, Mexican Americans, Nigerian Americans, Irish Americans, etc. All of these national citizens have a nationality, which is their descent name, Chinese, Mexican, Nigerian, etc. And the national name, which is their descent name, joined with the word American, which shows that they are a citizen of the United States of America, the Republic. The national government is said to be a republic because it is supposed to be a government of the people by the people. A republican form of government is representative government. It represents and is made up of many different nations and peoples, thus the phrase of e pluribus unum, out of many peoples and nations, one national government. In the national government, the head is elected by the people. In divine government, the head is appointed by Allah. The Prophet gave us our nationality of Moorish Americans. The word Moorish is our descent name. The Moorish American is our national name. On the national side, we share the national government with many other national citizens of the United States of America. On the divine side, the seal with the eye and the pyramid represents the divine government and the creed of our ancestors. Since our ancestors were the founders of the first divine creed, designed for the salvation of man on the planet Earth, it is only fitting that the pyramid be used. Egypt was once the capital of our dominions of Amexem, which extended from Egypt to Ethiopia, west across Africa, the Atlantic and America to the shores of the Pacific Ocean. The eye, of course, represents our Father God Allah. Thus, the MSTA is in fact a divine government, and thus we have the right to function as a nation within this nation, the same as does the Catholic Church. In fact, the Catholic Church followed the Prophet and filed the same way shortly after the Prophet. Let us see why this act of the Prophet established a divine government, caliphate, and why it has the right under the Constitution of the United States to function as a government under which the national government has no jurisdiction and cannot interfere. The American System of Church and State Relations by Carl H. Esbeck, E-S-B-E-C-K. The American system of church-state relations presupposes that there are two realms in civil society, the sacerdotum and the regnum. Each is distinct from and independent of each other. Each is its own center of authority, not one deriving from or existing at sufferance of the other. This division of powers is embodied in the opening phrase of the First Amendment to the United States of America Constitution and is enforceable by the judiciary to, inter alia, protect churches from government when the latter exceeds its limited powers. This is why the back of the dollar bill has two seals. One is for the divine government and one is for the national government. The question may arise, how can the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is filed as a religious corporation, be a government? It's a good question.
Fair question, yes.
This is a valid question. For there are many who think that a religious corporation or religious organization cannot be considered a government. Some may wonder how is an organization a nation or government. A nation or government is in fact an organization of powers and authority, the same as the word organism in the body, as an organization of cells and organs. Organization and organism is the same as body. Thus, you also have the word corporation from the word corpus, meaning body. This is why you have the phrase body politic when referring to a nation or a government. Religious corporation simply means a divine government or a divine organization of powers and authority. Let us understand the definitions of government, nation, state, religion, and corporation using Black's Law and Webster's dictionaries to further illustrate the religious corporation known as the Moorish Science Temple of America is in fact divine government, making us a divine nation within the national government of the United States of America. Government. Black's Law Dictionary. Government signifies the instrument, the helm, whereby the ship to which the state was compared was guided on its course by the Guberbator. Guberbator, or helmsman. And in that view, the government is but the agency of the state, a constitution either written or unwritten by which the rights and duties of citizens and public officers are prescribed and defined, as a monarchical government, a republican government, etc., the sovereign or supreme power in a state or nation. The whole class or body of office holders or functionaries considered in the aggregate upon whom devolves the executive, judicial, legislative, and administrative business. Government, Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. Noun, to govern, the exercise of authority over an organization, institution, state, district, etc. And it goes on and on and on. But you can go get the Moorish Paradigm, Brother Hakeem Bey. Right? So it's clear that the Moorish nation, Moorish nationality, things to do with your status is not some illusion or belief system. This is actually something that's legit. Many people can vouch for it, but forget what they say. This is your birthright. So you have your own experience that you're going to experience when you start exercising birthrights. There's Moors who, have never had any issues. Use their nationality card, go on a plane and all that. Right? There's Moors. There's a Moor I was talking to. He doesn't even have a nationality card. He has a card, right? He has a card, right? Okay. He has a card, laminated card or whatever, right? That all it says is the laws pertaining to right to travel. Right? That's all he has. That's all on the card. Yeah. And then he moves with that and he shows that, right? And they take it and they read it.
and they shut up
and they shut up and they say,
okay, sir, where do you want to sit?
Which way do you go? Which way are you going? Okay, we go that way. It's shorter or whatever. Right? Never got stopped, nothing yet. Right? Why? Because anybody that gets this could free themselves. Because nobody brought it for you to free yourself. But it's more appealing if we have numbers, right? Because that's why people are gonna get hyped. You know what I mean? And they see,
the sheep going that
way. Yeah, when they see all the sheep going down here, right? Okay, let's go with those sheep. You know what I mean? The fence wearing sheep, right? You know what I mean? So like, if you're in a situation, and we deal with Moors like this all the time. Yeah, the only reason we talk to Canaanland Moors is because we could reach you or whatever, and we could talk to you, and you know what I mean. It's not like pressure to have a conversation. You know what I mean? Like feeling like you got to wait. Like come on,
it's just a normal conversation.
Easy. You know what I mean? It's just regular, right? You know, and that's what it's supposed to be, because this is a nation, like we're family. Chinese called Chinese, they're bickering about stuff, about stupidness or whatever. You know what I mean? They just build because you know, like you just build, right? That's what it's supposed to be.
Not I'm better than you, or
don't go to those guys over there because you know, you know what I mean, right? You know,
don't do that, do this.
Yeah, right. Because everybody wants to give up the authority to somebody else claiming something. When Drew Ali's sitting there and like, why not just give him the props? You know what I mean?
Just give him his dues.
Just give him his dues. Like, what's the problem? He's fighting it. You know what I mean? Like, Europeans wrote about him. Europeans founded their own church based on what Noble Drew Ali brought. Right? Like Moorish Orthodox Church. It's some Europeans that studied Noble Drew Ali and they said, hey, that makes sense or whatever. And then they studied some more and they found out some more stuff where they had their own passports and stuff like that. Yeah, but remember, same thing that Hakeem Bey's talking about. Right? They had their own passports. The Moorish Orthodox Church had passports.
Their own. Interesting.
Right?
Very interesting.
Yeah, but they're a church. Why do they want passports if they're a church?
So
obviously, church is government.
Yeah.
And it's not you gonna come worship and the cross is up on the thing and
it's not the
music. Right? That's not what church is.
Yeah, it's not all that ritual stuff.
That's not church. Right? That's belief system. You know what I mean?
Churches.
Right?
So obviously church
is government. Religion's government. Right? How is church not government and pastors signing off on the marriage certificate that they're going to file in the government office? I thought there was separation between church and state, and there's no relation between the two. Just that alone. And there's other crazy stuff that they're doing where they're mixing and matching church and state.
You go to court and they'll swear on the Bible. Well, if we're in court, why have we been getting into that?
That's not law. Well, you give me a zodiac or something, let me swear on that if we're talking about court and law and stuff. You know?
Guys are sleeping.
Or you don't even have to do that. You know, you could just affirm, just you could just affirm, you don't have to you're atheist, so it's okay, whatever. You don't need to swear. Right? So Drew Ali set up something, right? For the Moors. Not for other members or whatever. Where is it at? Because everybody likes the... Oh yeah, you do the 101 right there.
This one?
Yeah. Right. Everybody playing games about you have to be a member in the temple in order to have a nationality. That's crazy talk. Anybody talking that crazy stuff right there to you, right? About you have to be in the temple. We're not even... Right, and again, this is in the Declaration of Independence, right? With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people. We are teaching our people. We are not teaching our members. We are teaching our people. So that means that if you're teaching, you have to be adept. So that means that everybody who's a member that proclaims their nationality, they're supposed to be adept so they can go teach the people. But if they don't tell you that, adept chamber is not supposed to be adept chamber, because the real adept chamber is the silent brotherhood, right? That's the real Arab chamber. The pseudo Arab chamber where they bring people in or whatever.
Yeah, that shit.
That's not the Arab chamber. That's the Masonic stuff, like what Pleasant Bay talks about the temples and the Masonic connection to the temples and rituals from Masons that got into the Moorish Science Temple, right? Aseer just talked about it. Those Mason Moors, don't think that they're out there. Don't think they don't exist because you see plain fezzes everywhere. You know, there's people in secret. They rather wear a Shriner's fez than wear their national headwear.
Yeah.
Right? And they're Asiatic. You know, that's treason. That's not no light crime, huh? Treason. That's not light crime. Treason. That's not light. But people take it light, you know. Be friends with people and stuff like that, right? When if we want to talk about, people always talk, well, you swore, and Act 5 says you're not supposed to swear or whatever. Well, how about with us, all members must proclaim their nationality and go teach the people? How come all you Moors out there aren't teaching the people? How come every Moorish American doesn't have Ustream or YouTube putting out information out the Moors? How come there's Moors putting out fat ass girl stuff? How come there's Moors pushing black whatever? Like Moors push black stuff. The black people are black people or whatever. What are you talking about? Right? All this stuff going on when we are the ones that's supposed to go teach them not to be black people. But we're sitting waiting for leadership to say something. That's why, Islam to the Khalifa Moors, because there's some Moors out there, Moors in Cali.
Okay.
There's a Moors out there going hard.
Khalifa.
Going hard.
Khalifa.
Yeah. That's how hard they go. That's how hard they go. Right? Yeah. Right? So Islam to you Moors for putting it out there. Putting their meetings out there, putting their whatever they have out there, their classes, Moors just putting out stuff. Needed.
Being active.
Having whatever picnics and all this type of stuff. You know what I mean? All that. Active.
Community picnics and stuff.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Active. Doing something with their birthright, not just holding it up. Right?
Some people just kind of sit on it.
Right. Like connected a sister to one of the sisters in Cali, and like straight helping her with her whatever she's dealing with. Business. That's what it means. Proclaim your nationality and go teach. Right? Because that sister's now clear about importance of nationality with regard to society and these people trying to come at me for something that, like, what's with the pressure? Why are you pressuring me or whatever when you guys are bankrupt and stuff? You're pressuring me about something? Are you bankrupt? You're pressuring me about you want money. What are you talking about? Right?
Some Rob Ford stuff.
Yeah. Next one. Got 20 left. Addressing the misunderstandings. You already know. Brother Taj. The killer.
Yeah.
National and Divine. Page 29. Many studied Moors, seeking to help in the movement, but being stagnated by some of the negative and non-progressive persons holding seats of authority, have developed expanded informational approaches to help facilitate solving some of the social, political, and economic problems facing the nation. Facing the nation. Not facing the temple, not facing the synagogue, the mosque, or the whatever.
The
facing
religion,
the nation. The religion, none of that. Facing the nation. Because what we do is nationhood. This is not templeism. This is nationhood.
And then your temple's better than
my temple and whatever. If you look at it like a nation, nobody can say nobody's better than nobody.
Then we get into
You're gonna either have to just step up and do what it is that you're supposed to do, or step off. Simple. Right? When you start getting into the all these different sects and breakdowns of whatever, is where you get all this confusion that we're seeing right now. There were in the past, as there are in the present, intelligent, positive, and progressive Moors who are dedicated to the cause of uplifting fallen humanity. Right? We are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed. Right? Uplifting fallen humanity. So Islam to all the Moors out there who are present, intelligent, positive, and progressive, and are dedicated to the cause of uplifting fallen humanity. May Allah bless you, Moors.
Yeah, humanity needs you.
Right? Oh yeah, and speaking about that, Feed the Hungry this Saturday, 6 p.m. Dundas Square. And we're also going to be, we're supposed to be shooting a little something.
Okay.
Down there. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Something's going on Saturday. Right? And as fate would have it, to the contrary, many others were seeking to capitalize on the weakness and naivety which is evident among some of our people. Some sought out positions of power and authority in the movement for economic reasons only. The motives of some included deliberately hiding and nullifying the national, economic, scholastic, and political application side of the Moorish movement. Logically, without a just and proper government structure, and with appropriate participatory civic activities, the proper and inherited benefits of the reclamation of Moorish nationality and birthrights can never be properly realized and enjoyed. Thus, the people, misled by such leaders, would continue to lack true economic and political security. This negative proposition is why those who oppose Noble Drew Ali's universal Moorish movement, past and present, usually feign ignorance about or are non-supportive of the original civic nature and Rotarian complexion of the Moorish movement. Some will even condemn or slander those active Moors who are working to protect the unalienable and substantive political rights of all Moorish Americans, etc. If one studies the universal principles, reasons, proper structure, and operations of national and international governments, one can quickly surmise who among us are constitutionally inept. Measuring by principles will show where opposition and deceptions initiated against the people's rights has root or among whom it exists. Measuring by principles will show where opposition and deceptions initiated against the people's rights has root or among whom it exists. Right? Which means dirty Moors can't hide once you're dealing with things based on principles. They turn into big screen on Young Street when they come around. Right? They can't hide. Right? Keep in mind that works and efforts made toward freeing a suppressed people from usurpation, color of law, false and reconstructed history will be met with tyrannical religious dogma brand appellatives, and designed confusion. You guys know how deep he goes, yo. Let's go again. Yo, you know how deep he goes. Keep in mind that works and efforts made toward freeing a suppressed people from usurpation, color of law, false and reconstructed history, etc., will be met with tyrannical religious dogma, brand appellatives, and designed confusion. Truth and allodial thinking directly and indirectly affects institutionalized fraud. Sheds light upon the ill-gotten profits of the wardship tenure controllers. Knowledge being given to the natural people weakens the usurped political powers of those thieves who have benefited from the status quo social engineering conditioning. The Moorish nationality and its co-joined empowering issues presents a formidable threat to the European slaveholders. It also begins to neutralize the pseudo-religious mind-numbing effectiveness of their Negro-bred overseers alike. So don't be surprised that many are not happy about the Moorish movement. Be aware of Inquisition colonial strategies. Study the Spanish Inquisition and the influence it has on Western world politics. This has much to do with the variables involving the negative history surrounding the Moorish divine and national movement. This will enable one to work for the positive side of the movement and recognize those who would seize upon the ignorance of the people. Such persons will often misuse the presentment of alleged religious or government nation activities without teaching of the original constitutional functions of them. They will also avoid teaching about the contractual natures of the same. Such misrepresentations serve the greed and opportunistic intent of such persons for satisfying their vanity or selfish gain, whether it be for finance or for other forms of benefit or power. So you know what they want. Power make people go mad. Oh, and by the way, muquarabeen files, just so brother BBB knows, it's in the mail, so it's coming. And give thanks for the support on that. If more, and then we're letting the Moors know again, right? The cost to ship is $15, right? The cost to ship is $15. To photocopy is $20, right? 15 and 20. Do the math. If you want a copy of the muquarabeen files, it's not anything. Nothing's coming from us. We're not getting nothing. We're just taking the book to the print shop, printing it, and mailing it out. We're not getting any donations or whatever. So you can go to canaanlandguide at gmail.com, right? Send a message that you want it, and we'll send you the information for your for you to make your payment, right? So we can get this in the mail to you as soon as possible, and also too, give the brother who's a Hindustani brother, the printer man, some business, you know. Right? Joseph, brother Joseph, in-print copies, you know. Best deal in town. Best deal. Right? So this is from page 58. Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder, Chicago, Illinois, February 9th, 1928. Brother and Sister Wise Bay, Islam. I was greatly pleased to hear from you all and receive the finance, for I needed to help you all. I am glad to see that you all's eyes are open to the game that is about to be played on the 11th of this month. Allah is in the plane, and let not your hearts be troubled. I will be there Friday to gain all information, and my attorney will care for the situation according to law. I would like to know some good, decent places to stay, because I am not going to stop at the former address. I do not think it is safe. Notify all faithful Moors, in order to save their labor of their Moorish work in Detroit, their temple, they will have to watch their enemy and hold their enemy in check. Works alone prove a man to be either good or evil. It is through my hard labor and my finance that built Detroit on a prosperous footing, and I am sorry to find that I had found unloyalty to our Moorish laws and obligations. For it layeth not in the members, but in the head, whom I have trusted and supported. I have everything to tell you all when I get there. May Allah bless you all. There's there's a letter in there from the Prophet, stressing that former address isn't safe for him to go to, so he shouldn't go there. Right? Watch your enemy and hold your enemy in check. Don't be playing rub shoulders with these people or whatever like that. Right? Don't be turning the other cheek when dirty Moors come around talking about unity, because your own brother will put you in slavery. Y'all seen it already. We told y'all 3,500 for nationality. They're killing it. They're going for the juggler, right? It was through my hard labor and finance that built Detroit on a prosperous footing, and I'm sorry to find out that I found unloyalty to our Moorish laws and obligations. Right? We already know who he's talking about, because Detroit. Right?
That's crazy. Detroit's a crazy place.
For it layeth not in the members. So members, nothing's on you, members. Nobody's gonna make you feel guilty because, you didn't whatever for the temple, and you didn't this for the temple, because it's by your works that justify whether you're on this or not. Right? But the burden's not on the members. The burden's on the trustees or the heads, who have an obligation to do for the members.
Do the right thing.
Because you're supposed to do the right thing. That's just what it is. Just do the right thing.
They want to be like Rob Ford.
Yeah, right? That's their game, right? The Rob Ford game. Right? They want to play.
Drinking, they want to be spending your money. They want to talk shit.
The good stuff.
They don't want to be in their office doing the work for you. They're supposed to.
Good stuff. What's that?
Driving, giving people the middle finger.
Something. What's that next book? Yeah. So the last stop for today is, what shall we call him? Grand Governor Heru. Right. Once again, you know, active Moors put stuff out for people to learn about their nationality and birthright. They don't sit on it. They put it out there. Right. For those not familiar, the lessons left by His Holiness Prophet Noble Drew Ali, 1886 to 1929, known in propria persona as Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, are called the Quran Questions for Moorish Americans, or the 101s. In these lessons called keys, in the original keys, the date for the Moorish flag was given at 50,000 years. Later it was toned down to 10,000 years to make it a bit more palatable for the layman. Make note that the European is just now catching up with our Holy Prophet, who was divinely prepared by his Father God to uplift a fallen humanity. With regard to naturalization, we quote Oppenheim, International Law, page 359, and it must be specifically mentioned that naturalization need not give a foreigner absolutely the same rights as are possessed by natural-born citizens. Thus, it is well known that a naturalized subject of the United States of America can never be elected president. But my people, get it out of your mind about a quote-unquote black president of the United States. Quote-unquote blacks are subjugated people under the sovereignty of the United States. Oppenheim, 365 International Law. An individual may be destitute of nationality knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or through no fault of his own. Even by birth, a person may be stateless. All of your life, you may have thought you were a U.S. citizen or Canadian citizen, a member of this alleged body politic, when in actuality, your status, until corrected, is still second class, diluting to property of the federal government. Make reference to African Americans being the only people in the quote-unquote United States to need their voting rights extended every 25 years. Oppenheim, 366 International Law. That stateless individuals are insofar objects of the law of nations that they fall under the territorial supremacy of the state on whose territory they live, there is no doubt whatever. But since they do not own a nationality, the link by which they could be deriving benefits from international law is missing, and thus lack any protection whatsoever as far as the law is concerned. The protection of such individuals destitute of nationality may be compared to vessels on the open sea not sailing under the flag of a state which likewise do not enjoy any protection whatsoever. In practice, stateless individuals are in most states treated more or less as though they were subjects of foreign states. But as a point of international legality, there is no restriction whatever upon a state's maltreating to any extent. Mr. Oppenheim made the point that our illustrious Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali made from 1913 AD. According to the previous mentioned quotes, the link by which one can derive benefits from international law is nationality. African Americans do not own a nationality. Thus, any benefits or privileges you receive from the U.S. federal government is only because they feel like giving it to you, not because they are obligated to give it to you, and all of those privileges have a catch to them. Also mentioned in the previous quote was the statement that there is no restrictions of the maltreatment of stateless persons in international law. A stateless person is a person who is not considered a national by any country. Being a second-class citizen is to be stateless. The 1954 Stateless Persons Convention provided protections for an individual who was stateless, provided that they adhere to the laws of the nation state in which they reside and that they have a nationality. There are no provisions for a stateless person without a nationality. Do you realize how important nationality is? Nationality is connected with the cultural ideas and principles of our foremothers and forefathers. Without a nationality, you can only bear the worldview of the master of your subjugation. Stop referring to yourselves as ex-slaves. Your ancestors were subjugated Moors. This is a different legal term. It infers that your ancestors were Moors that became subjugated. Subjugated means conquered, and this infers that a war took place. In fact, relative to the Moors, there were several wars that took place that left the Moors in a conquered state once defeated. Subjugated infers that a people were once in power, but are no longer in power due to loss in the battlefield. Chance can favor anyone on the battlefield. Subjugate comes from Latin word subjugare, meaning yoke, or to put someone under the yoke through involuntary servitude or slavery. Ex-slaves infers that the descendants of the slaves can only inherit the situation of a slave. This means that the religion, names, clothes, property, abuse, foods, institutions, philosophies, political ideals, etc., that the slave owner forced upon the slave, the ex-slave's descendants can only receive these controlled elements because his ancestors have no legacy. Their history began in 1779 with slaveholders changed written documents and recorded the Moors as slaves, a term that holds weight in the legal world. A people with no nationality are a dead people. Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali taught the Moors that according to science, black means death. Could this be the reason that during Black History Month, the only heroes that are celebrated are those either during or post-slavery? This is the era of the death of the Moors. Negro, black, colored, and African Americans are property marks. Whenever an issue of nationality arises and someone is trying to convince you to use an accepted chattel mark, know that they are trying to brand you again. Right? Close out right there.
That was a good ending.
Yeah, that was a good ending, yo. That one worked out quite well. So don't forget, get our brother Heru in Atlanta. He's got a number of books. This book that we just read from is What Shall We Call Him? Right? Heru Ranasi L. Grand Governor Heru. Right? You can go to the Moorish Paradigm. You can just Google Brother Hakeem Moorish Paradigm and this will come up. Right? Okay. Oh, my finger blocking the name right there. Gotta give him his props. Right? Brother Hakeem. Right? Heru again, who was Noble Drew Ali. Right, Moorish National Hero Series. Red Book. Get this at RV Bay Publications or the Silent Brotherhood of the East. Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. Red Book, Adept Book. You need this, so make sure you go get this because you need that, and you should be able to get it. And as soon as they tell you, well, but you already know you should have went to RV Bay the first time instead of playing around with these people. Right? 101 questionnaire, Quran questions for Moorish Americans. Right? And then to put it on the record also, don't forget you can also go to Grand Sheik Nature, Great Cedar Moor Science Temple of America, if you want a temple that's running properly. Right? For sure you can go there. Right? New Jersey, MoorishGuidepost.com. And last but not least, muquarabeen files. Right? We have it. Email canaanlandguide@gmail.com. It's 35 notes to get to get this book right here. Okay, so this is not, you want this. You know how I go hard at Dirty Moors and all that stuff? You want this. You want this. So Islam Moors, give thanks. Islam to the Moors in the chat. Everybody, don't forget this Saturday we're gonna be feeding the hungry. So if you're in T-Dot, if you're around here, 6 p.m. Dundas Square, bring some old jeans, you know, t-shirt. Oh yeah, don't bring too much bags because you gotta carry your own bags. So because people like to get hype and bring their bag and drop their bag and leave and all those type of stuff. I ain't going out this year. You're walking around with your own 50 bags of donation clothes, right? And you're doing something to uplift all humanity. We're not working for you this year, right? Close it out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, Islam. Islam Moors, peace and love to everybody that's online. We're ending on 16 people on. So I'm out. Peace.